So the therapy that the boys are on now is a weekly therapy. And so theoretically, you can wash out of it to try something else. For example, the boys have a mutation that's amenable to either exon 51 skip or exon 53 skip. And it's my understanding that medically, there's no reason that they can't stop the therapy they're on, wash out. They're saying 3 to 6 months. I think it should be less. I'd push for less. And then try something else. However, the other thing you can think about is this is an approved therapy that the boys are on. Eventually, we're going to be looking at combination therapies for Duchenne at least, and pretty much every other drug. Even gene therapy is not going to be curative for Duchenne because it's a truncated form of the dystrophin protein. You're always going to need a combination. Our community needs to start looking at combination therapies. They're already on the first 2 drugs that are approved. That steroid that I mentioned, plus the drug that they're on now, which is an exon skipping drug. Now they could probably add an anti-myostatin drug or another anti-fibrotic or, a circulation drug or pulmonary drugs or whatever. So I think that the way that we're moving with these therapies is that we're going to start adding to the next best treatment. Once this drug is accepted as a gold standard of treatment and standard of care, then there should be arms of clinical trials that accept the boys into them. I'm certainly pushing for that, right? Although they're aging out of the acceptable. Once you're over 21, you really weren't supposed to live, so you're not really allowed to be in clinical trials anymore, but that's changing. It's starting to change. I'm certainly pushing the current company that's working on gene therapy to have an arm for their boys that have been participating. We're not there yet, but if you think about clinical trials, they allow patients to be on standard of care treatment. They wouldn't expect them to wash out of standard of care. And so that also points to another point that I want to make is that if your child is on an approved therapy and it seems to be working for them, it's never a good idea to wash out of your approved therapy to get into a clinical trial. Seems to be a misnomer, but why take something that's standard of care and then you wash out of it to be in something that doesn't have any evidence? So, and it's happening. So it's just not a big enough pool of patients. I'm lucky. I don't have any decisions to make anymore. Isn't that interesting? Well, the boys are adults.
Yeah.
And not only are they adults, but they're out of that window. We had our, 15 seconds of fame, in that lifespan that they had where they were prime age and the focus of everybody. We're benefiting from the first drug. We don't have any decisions to make right now because we've already made all of our decisions. We may have decisions later, but we don't have any choices. There's nothing for the older guys anymore. But we made it through some really hard ones.